All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a pre-market show. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, buddy. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. All right, guys, let's take a look at our top place and highlights from yesterday on this list here, starting with Space. So we had a pretty good list. Space was great, guys. Didn't have the best pre-market action, but we knew it's been so aggressive and so nice the last couple of days. Here, a pretty nice open right off the gate. Nice pullback on the 5 minute. You could have taken this towards the top, possible 5 minute breakout. From here, it gets a little bit top. He's not able to break out of this previous day, not previous day close. It would have been the high of the day at this time, right? Was not able to break out of that. You see the nice rejection way below VWAP back to the low of the day here, but then it recovers. Nice double bottom here, recovers off this 24.57 level that we had right towards the VWAP and moving average, and then goes for another shot of the high of the day, and this time it's able to break through. So again, pretty good plays here on Space. I was watching this one closely. It actually traded very clean and very well. Aside from this area here, if you had this move here, you did well. If you had this drop here and the loss of VWAP, that was good also, and then the recovery into the VWAP, you can see here the hesitation, how long it takes to actually break out of it, but it's able to regain that and trades very well. Next, we had mRNA, guys. This one off the bat just took off here, guys. You had to be pretty quick, and if you look at the 1 minute, you can see three nice big candles off to the races. But again, it's just hard to trust mRNA. You just don't know what to expect out of it. It's a pretty wild stock that can go in any direction. So again, it's getting a little bit tougher to trade. It's actually always been tougher to trade when you got that type of volume. But again, it's a little bit all over the place for me to actually take a trade on. Next, we have PFE. PFE at the open didn't do a whole lot, but it had this beautiful engulfing pattern, not as big or as wide as I like to see right off the open. Also, this candle kind of throws things off a little bit on what exactly you can expect at the open, but it had this pretty nice engulfing here, and if you waited patiently 10 minutes, beautiful entry for a possible short here. Does get to this level here, the lows of the last two trading days, and it's able to find some support there. So this traded pretty clean, but you had to have some patience to wait for the actual moves. Here was INO was the other one we have. This one was pretty much all over the place, although this was a nice engulfing pattern here. It was not easy to trade on this one. I did watch the price action closely here. Again, you have to be really quick. You didn't really get any patterns, and if you look at the 1 minute, you can see what I'm talking about too. Wasn't anything clean about it as regard to identifying any strategy you could possibly trade. And then from there, guys, just look how choppy it becomes. Again, nothing clean there on INO. Later on, it does settles down, has this beautiful support here that holds even later in the morning when it goes back to retest, is not able to break out of that. That's a good indication of reversal. You can see how great that reversed here back to the VWAP and then some, almost towards the high of the day. Next we have was NEO. NEO also was pretty nice, guys. Here, if you look at the 1 minute, you can see it clearly how you had a pretty nice pop here and then comes back, retests the moving average, and then a beautiful continuation. Gets pretty toppy here, indication that the sellers are taking control. You see some of the levels that we had on here, and it just starts dropping down nicely, loses the VWAP, and then gives you this beautiful drop, guys, of the loss of VWAP. So again, some big ranges on NEO yesterday. Here was Snap. Now Snap, guys, I mean, this stock, it's just a shame how crappy this stock trades. I mean, it was so choppy yesterday. I'm going to show you the 1 minute on this one because I think it's worth watching. If you look at the 5, let's go back to the 5. If you look at the 5, it seems like it traded well. It looks after the fact like, oh, that's not actually bad. You got a couple of flows here. But if you look at the 1, just look how horrible
The
this
wicks
stock.
on those
Yeah, it's
on the
just,
five.
and
Oh,
even on the 5, yeah. And look at the 1. The 1 looks worse.
yeah.
It looks like this is like pre-market trading the way this looks here, and this is with volume. So that just shows you how choppy this price action was, and that's the issue with Snap. Snap, when it has news and when it has a lot of volume, it can just be really a choppy mess there. And again, it just didn't trade well at all. All right, so that is what we had yesterday, guys. Let's go
You
over.
missed two
Yeah,
of the best ones.
which ones?
FE.
Oh, yes, yes. Actually, you know what? I did watch FE. I didn't trade it, but man, this was something else yesterday. Yes, yes. And we were talking about this in the chat room. Excuse me for forgetting that one. This was probably one of the best ones, Norm. If you took a short here, this thing was just so weak,
Was
guys.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Let's look at. I want to show you the daily guys on here. So if you're not aware, there's news about possible. What was the news exactly, Norm? I guess some
Bribery and corruption,
bribery.
bribery and corruptions of politicians in
Yeah.
Ohio.
And I wish I would have had that news the day before, because you could see here the beautiful drop. And on this day, it actually just started just dropping nicely, gap down huge. And then yesterday continues to just drop perfectly. What was the other one, Norm, you had?
AMD.
Yes, AMD actually did
And
not.
this was doing nothing in the
Yeah,
pre-market yesterday.
right.
Not a
This,
thing. And then somebody called it out in the chat yesterday, and this thing just skyrocketed from 57 to 61ish, 61.25, almost in a straight line. It's
yeah.
just crazy.
Yeah, look at the 5 here. I didn't watch this opening because I missed it, but I did see here as well, again, coming back and testing these levels and then pushing up again. Again, how strong this thing was yesterday. So again, looking forward to see what that's going to do today, guys. All right, the member trade of the day, let's bring that in. That is going to go to Trader's Journey. So he actually traded AMD. So you can see here AMD, he had a beautiful entry here off these moving averages. What I love about this trade here, guys, is look how he waits for the pullback. That's important. A lot of people try to chase it. They want to get into a situation where things are looking good already, and they will not wait for the pullback. He waits for the pullback here, gets a beautiful entry, and then he gets rewarded for it. Because if you chase and you get in on that green candle there, now you got to hope for this pullback, right? And most likely, you can easily get stopped out and miss an incredible move. But you can see here, he waited for the pullback, got rewarded as the broke the high of the day, and then just look at the rip here that he got on this trade. So great job there, amazing trade there for the member trade of the day yesterday. All right, Norm, let's get to our market pulse this morning. What do we have going on for today?
Yeah, so we just had jobless numbers come out for last week. They came in at 1.416, I believe, off the top of my head, which was just 1.416, that's correct, which was, depending on the estimate you see, I've seen two estimates. I've seen 1.3 and 1.4. Both of them, it was slightly worse than both of those. And then continuing claims actually came in a little bit better than expected. The SPY, it's come down since that. I'm not sure if it was that news because it wasn't really moving at the time, but it's come down essentially to break even. We were up pretty substantially overnight in the futures, and then we've just kind of had this slow pullback down to previous day close. So Steve Mnuchin was just being interviewed on CNBC, talking about the stimulus and whatnot. I obviously didn't catch the back end of that conversation. I don't know if something transpired in that caused a little bit of that pullback or what, but that's what we got going on. There's really not a whole lot else going on today other than those numbers as far as economic data. 10 a.m. we'll have leading economic indicators for June, and then we've got a few things tomorrow. So that's what's going on this morning. The interesting thing, Carlos, most of the sectors across the board are green. The one that's been leading the market is technology, and the XLK is the one lagging this morning, down 0.16%. So the thing about that, though, is most of tech is up just a little bit or flat. The one thing that had it down, and it's come back up a little bit since earlier, it's Microsoft. Microsoft's down a little bit on its earnings that it released last night, even though it had good earnings, and we can take a peek at Microsoft in a little bit. But Microsoft is the one pulling it down overall. Its weighting is 21%, 22% of the XLK, so that's the reason behind that.
Yeah, makes perfect sense here. So in our gappers list this morning, guys, we got quite a bit in the green. A couple of low flow stocks here, some sitting at 20 million shares flow here, BLNK to be exact, and then you got some really low ones there. And then we got some sitting in the red as well, with another low flow here, MXC also 980. So that's getting pretty scary numbers when it comes to that type of flow. So let's get into our gappers list, guys. Let's see what we have going on here this morning. We will start with what's gapping down today. And let's see what we can get out of this one here. So LLNW, taking a look here. This is a horrible pre-market action, guys. I'm not sure what type of company or ticker this is, but if you look down here, volume is pretty light. Dailies all over the place. So again, doesn't fall into the criteria of the stuff that we're looking for. Heading on over to JMIA. This one was, I remember trading this quite a bit Last year or the year before, this was always on our gappers list, and it was not an easy stock to trade. But I remember they had some news behind it. It has some pretty good volume. Today, right now, I'm not seeing anything great. They do have 244,000 shares traded, but if you look at this pre-market, that's the one. I'm gonna bring the 5 in, the 5-minute chart here. You can see you got a lot of chop going on here. So again, that 244 is not trading well at all. They're down 8.4, but again, not seeing anything spectacular here. BLDB, this one down 8.3 this morning. We have looked at this one before, Norm. Any specific news why this is down this morning? 103,000 on the shares traded.
This just popped up in the gappers. I am not really seeing any fresh news on it. I might have missed it, but
yeah,
it just
popped up.
There was a point in time a little while back. This was on our gappers like every day. It tends to trade terribly.
Yeah, I do remember that. That's why I remember the ticker name here. It's nice big drop today, but again, it's not the best trading stock. So we'll keep it here as a possible in case this drop is caused by any news that we might catch up on later. But for the most part, it's not the best trading stock. Bntx, let's see what it did yesterday. I know this was hot yesterday. I took it off my list because I expected this to not trade as well. Again, without looking at the price action, not sure how clean this was, but to manage the risk on this stock is a little tough, right? Look at this entry here. The opening was at around, what's this, 99, and the drop is 95, right? So it's almost a $3.5, $4 drop there in one candle. It's just a little more difficult to manage that type of movement on a stock like that. So today they are down 4.9, 704,000 already on the scale here as far as volume. So we can throw it on here. It's one that's active. You just got to be, again, I'm going to put it down here towards the risky pile, man, just to be careful with this one. Bntx is one that you don't want to play around with. Again, managing the risk is pretty tough there.
They had that big news yesterday that was part of what helped pop the markets with the COVID vaccine that the U.S. government's getting 100 million doses of in conjunction with Pfizer. And then they had previously announced a secondary offering that they have increased the size of. So I think this is a little bit of a pullback from the pop yesterday. And of course, they increase the size of their secondary, which will be dilutive to shareholders and hurt them a little bit there too.
Yeah, the better trade would be, guys, on PFE. I think this was a little more cleaner. If you look at yesterday, look how clean this was. Again,
the most something because PFE doesn't usually trade great.
It does not, man. And look at it yesterday; it's just an amazing clean trading. You do have a nice, beautiful drop here, nice recovery. Again, we can really find some good opportunities there, opposed to BNTX. Let's look at MXC. This one is 983 million shares float, guys. Again, it's too low for us to be looking at. Pre-market doesn't even look all that great to be having it on our watch list, so I'm going to skip on this one. SHG.
I want to point out, we get a lot of people, and a lot of people, obviously, things going on in social media and all kinds of stuff. Day trading has become quite popular, increase in popularity over the last several months. And, we get people hop in the especially YouTube chat all the time, and they're pointing out these low float stocks. This is essentially a penny stock. It was at $3 a couple of days ago. And then Mike Hagman, who's in our YouTube all the time, every morning, I will say, so thank you for joining us every morning, Mike, said he saw on Twitter yesterday some trader lost $300,000 on MXC. That's why we don't trade low float stocks.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what is that?
I always say it's not because there are people out there that can effectively trade them, but they can be extremely dangerous if you are not one of those people. So
agree. I mean, I'm telling you, it takes a higher level of experience, years of training to be able to trade those stocks effectively. And again, there's so much manipulation sometimes that even if you're the best trader, you could get caught on the wrong side of the trade. And again, that type of stuff is not going to happen with an AMD, with an NVIDIA, with the stuff we watch on a regular basis. And you see our type of trades. You're able to trade every day on this beautiful mid to large flow stocks with no problem and be consistent. That's the one thing that we learned from Andrew is about, can you do it every single day? And with these low flow stocks, I find it very difficult to be able to do that. Here we go, guys. AUPH, what do we have here? This one is starting to get going, 214. It is down 4.1 this morning. Pre-market not looking great. Had a great day yesterday, though. Nice big pop. Let's see how that traded out. But look how this actually traded yesterday. I mean, this is just terrible. You have one pop here. Looks like it probably might have got halted. Then look at the chop you get. Then another pop out of nowhere. How do you find any type of strategy here, ABCD pattern or something to trade? So again, we're going to skip on this one. I don't see anything great. Even the daily chart looks horrible. The volume is pretty light. Let's move on to the next one. We looked at SHG. Yeah, probably a couple of block trades here. We do have some volume on it, but no pre-market action. Looks foreign as well. Probably a Chinese company based on the name, I think. QFIN, this one here, guys, not doing all that much. Again, another couple of block trades here showing 215 on the volume. They are down 3%. AGS, we know, is silver. So again, not one that we really put on our watch list this morning. And Plug is just a horrible stock, guys. I mean, Plug, if you look at their regular intraday trading, look at their daily chart, there's nothing clean about it. They had a couple of days where they traded very well, nice, beautiful pops here with some good volume. But aside from that, we're getting into a pretty normal situation for them. There's just not a clean trading stock. So not a lot of the gapping down list, only PFE really. And actually PFE is gapping up. We only brought it up because we were talking about Bntx. Let's see what our gapping up list has for us. USG, this one here is a 601,000 shares flow, right? So again, it's pretty low float stock. I'm not going to be watching this one. You can see it had a pretty decent day yesterday. Nice pop, most of it happening in the pre-market. At the open, didn't trade well at all. Good volume right off the bat, but then just died down and just again didn't really do anything. So I'm going to skip on this one. I don't expect anything greater than what we saw yesterday to happen today. And if it does, again, look at the float on this 601. CNTG. This one also looking pretty crappy as well. 4.1 million shares flow. So also another low flow. And again, I'm not seeing anything great when it comes to pre-market action. You don't have great volume. You don't have a great pre-market action happening here. Not a great price action happening. And on top of that, look at this daily, guys. You barely get any volume. We're pretty much dropping down towards the range that we were stuck in before. So we'll move on to the next one. IMRN. Now, this one, I've seen people in the community take some good trades out of this one. This one is probably one of the better trading low flow stocks that we have seen when it comes to scalping. But overall, still not something we really focus on for the most part right now. Not looking great, guys. Only 104,000 shares traded, so very light on the volume. And pre-market is really all over the place at the moment. So we have one big pop that was great. I believe this was earlier in the week. After that, have not really done much the last couple of days besides sell back down and be a little bit choppy. IBIO, what do we have going on here? 1.3 million shares traded. This one, guys, had a couple of days been trading pretty well. So I'm actually shocked how great this thing has been trading. It's not typically the price action that we look for under $5. You know, the stock was trading at $1, $2, but it has provided some pretty clean moves here. It is not a low flow stock, but it is a lower price stock. So you do still have to watch the number of shares you take. What happens a lot also to new traders, guys, if you're brand new, you're just starting out, you know, if you have a certain amount of capital, these stocks tend to be more attractive because the price is lower and you feel you can take more shares. So be careful with that type of thinking. You know, it's not the correct way to look at something. So again, you want to trade based on strategies and something that you're actually seeing that you can take advantage of. So IBIO active this morning, 1.3, not the best pre-market action though. Look at this, 400,000 sitting on this one candle here for the most part, not the best pre-market. So I might move this down to a possible. All right, so here's Twitter. Look at the chop this morning. Any new information on Twitter this morning, Norm, as far as news?
Absolutely. They reported earnings this morning. Their revenues came in a little bit more than expected by analysts. They had a loss compared to what they expected was analysts thought would be a flat quarter. But the loss was, I believe, on a one-time charge for some business expense that really wasn't taken into account in the analyst estimates. That having been said, they had a big increase in daily active users throughout the campaign or throughout the quarter, and but they also they talked about a huge revenue hit based on advertising. So all that together, I think people are focusing on the user growth. And that's what we're popping up 5.7% this morning.
Excellent. Yeah, definitely. I love the daily as well, guys. Look how this beautiful pop we're getting here. Pre-market action is a little bit wild right now, but we got 3.9 million shares traded. Looking forward to see what kind of open we're going to have. Hopefully it's not too crazy and not too choppy those first couple of minutes. So Twitter on deck here. FE, I mean, definitely want to watch this one, guys. It's been taking a nice hit over the last couple of days. It's a stock that normally does not trade well, but obviously this reminds me a little bit of PCG. Remember that when this thing started, again, the stock didn't trade well at all, but they had some pretty significant news and we got some movement out of it. So we'll put FE on here today. We'll see what kind of action we're going to get. Again, big extended drops here already. Right now we have 246,000 shares traded. Not a whole lot going on this pre-market, but let's see if we're going to get some kind of continuation either on this bounce here or we're going to continue to drop and test some of these levels. Let's look over at Tesla, what we have going on here. Tesla's daily looks amazing. I mean, look at this here, guys. Looks like it's ready to break out of this area. The high from a couple of days ago, you do have a level here at 1,800. We can probably try to test today. We're up 4% here with 550,000. So again, just a beautiful daily. I am going to add Tesla on here.
They had earnings last night, which they beat substantially. But this thing was trading wild even before the numbers came out. It was absolutely insane action after hours last night.
Yeah, look at it right on here, guys. I mean, it's just crazy what's happening with this. But again, beautiful daily, guys. And if they have positive numbers, and you can see the nice breakout here on the technicals. Dvax, this one not a great pre-market right now. Only 137,000. We are up 3%. The daily looks a little bit interesting. We're kind of holding the support at around 10. Prior resistance levels around here on 950 or so. But again, I like the daily, but the pre-market though is not looking great. Let's check how this thing has been trading. I have not been looking at it. Yesterday did not look great at all. Very light on the volume. I don't see anything happening there. What do we have the day before? The day before is when we had this beautiful drop that came out of nowhere, guys, with some pretty good volume. But for the most part, not sure what to think on this one. I'm going to put it as a possible for now. It might not make our list. Let's look at NEO today. NEO's daily is setting up nicely here. It's just a matter of when we can expect some kind of explosion out of this. But aside from that, even though it had a break-even day yesterday, if you look at the intraday play, you have some pretty good opportunities. So don't let this one pretty much open and close right on the dot here for you. If you look at the actual intraday play, you had a beautiful pop, a beautiful drop, and some good opportunities on NEO. So I want to add this one to the list this morning, see what kind of continuation we get. And again, I love the daily here, guys. We seem to be holding this range area of support right on here. If you look at that previous day close line, some good support happening there for a possible breakout. Next, we'll take a look at Nkla. This is a stock that trades very wild. Oh my God, this thing is sitting at 37. Oh man, look at that. All right, so again, the last couple of days we've just been kind of chopping around here. We had a big gap down day. We've been holding this level of support, but again, this thing has been so weak. Yesterday, actually sold off nicely. Didn't have it on the radar here, but had a pretty nice day yesterday. We're getting a little bit of a bounce here of this previous day close. I think this is worth watching today. See what kind of, if we're going to be able to hold that support that we have there right now. On the daily. BLNK, 20 million shares flow, guys. I don't see much going on there. 116, but look at the pre-market action. Pretty quiet this morning as far as volume and movement. Norm, what do you have that you like this morning?
Microsoft. They had earnings that I mentioned. They're in an interesting pattern here. It'll be it's right around VWAP for the pre-market. I'm not sure where it's going to go, but it's an interesting pattern. So I'll watch this one today. Roku, once again, terrible pre-market, sitting in this consolidation on the daily. So I've got my eye on it. Didn't trade it yesterday. I've been waiting to see if something breaks one way or the other. And it hasn't done it yet. One of these days, it's going to break out of that pin and it's forming. And then potentials, Las Vegas Sands, which is LVS. No need to pull it up because it's terrible. It's only 6,000 shares traded this morning. They reported earnings that were pretty nasty, as everybody anticipated. MGM in this sector trades better than they do, so I might see if there's a sympathy play. These are all secondaries, by the way, and except for Microsoft. So, and then American Airlines and Southwest, which is AAL and LUV. I can't remember if I mentioned those to you. They both reported earnings, so I'll keep an eye to see if anything's going. They're kind of dormant right now. Americans traded a bunch of shares, over 1 million, but just about a 0.5% gap up. Nothing's fantastic.
Yeah, how was their earnings for the airlines?
I mean, terrible.
Yeah, I figure.
They're burning through money like crazy, but they could have they could have said anything on their call pretty much, and it was just thrown away. Nobody anticipated them doing any business.
Yeah. So I like it. American Airlines sitting at this level of support here. So we'll see what kind of action that's going to get this morning. All right, folks, let's take a look at our chat. What do we have? So Andrew from Jersey is giving us MGM. We have that one on deck, and WIM is another possible play as well. So we do have LVS and MGM on here as possibles. Let's take a look. Who's next? We have Summit giving us Space, SPCE. Yeah, I think this thing has been pretty active. And again, it traded clean yesterday, guys. It had a pretty clean pop here. Beautiful open range breakup. Nice hesitation here off this level. Beautiful rejection back to the low of the day, and then shoots back up and retests to try to break out of that. So again, it's been trading well. So I'm going to put it on here. I think hasn't had the best pre-market action, but their activity, the intraday play, has been pretty good. So Space is on deck. AMD, let's see, AMD possible continuation after such a bang up day yesterday, man. Look at this, just beautiful stuff going on there. Right now, going red was green for part of this pre-market action, kind of on a bit of a downtrend here this morning with some significant volume. I think this is worth watching as well on AMD. Heading on down, what do we have? NVIDIA was crazy yesterday. Let's take a look, Simon. NVIDIA, yeah, crazy action yesterday, guys. Really all over the place. I mean, look at this pop here. Man, nice. Right now, pre-market action, I'm not seeing a whole lot. Pretty light on the volume, so I'm going to skip on this one for the most part. But be on the lookout for these tech companies on the radar this morning. WHR, it is up a 4.8 at the moment. Only 12,000 shares traded, so not much going on here. Also, the spread is very wild this morning, guys. Look at the spread right now. You're looking at 152.50 to 53.90. So again, you want to be careful with this type of company. And it must be, this is Whirlpool, so I know it's not a low flow stock, but look at the volume.
This is NYSE, not trading well kind of stuff.
Yeah, and just the volume, guys. The volume is horrible on a given day here. Only a million shares traded. We as retail traders, we need volume. That's what makes our strategies work more often than not. Here's Miss taking off here. At the moment, they are up 90%, guys. 6.8 million shares traded right now. What is the float on this bad boy? Let's take a look here. Miss, what do we have? 12 million shares flow. So the pharmaceutical company, be very, very careful. We'll definitely add it here as the low flow of the day so far. I have not seen anything with as much volume as I'm seeing here on this one. All right, USG, we looked at, guys, that we did not like the way this is looking here. Again, 601,000 shares traded. And look at the pre-market action. If you're going to look at any type of low flow stock, and hopefully not anything sitting at 600, you want to look at something like MIS. Look at this. This is a great pre-market activity for a low flow stock. If you don't see something like this with a lot of strength and power, just be very, very careful. You can still watch it, might still give you a play, but potentially it's probably not going to be great at the market open. DKNG. Let's look at this one. At the moment, not a great pre-market action. Very light on the volume. I see what you're looking at, guys. The daily looks very nice here, possible breakout. But for the most part right now, I'm not seeing anything great on DKNG at the moment. Let's take a look. NCLH. We haven't looked at the cruise lines in quite a bit. NCLH.
They've been trading like garbage.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad. Alongside with the airlines too. They all have the same kind of chart here that's just holding on to support, just chopping around left and right here. We got a little bit of volume here, but not, again, this volume is nothing compared to what we're used to seeing on these type of cruise lines, CCL as well. Not much going on there. So we need some kind of news to break in here to get some good trade that we had. I mean, this stock is probably the MVP of our trading for this year. We have traded stock so much. And we had a question over on YouTube. Someone mentioned they would love to see our style of trading with some recaps. We have tons of recaps in our channel, guys, from our members. We have tons of recaps that we also do on Twitter. We put stuff up, so make sure you follow Norm and I, and also at Bearable Traders on Twitter if you want to see some of the recaps that we do. And in the community, we're always sharing our trades. We got a tab just for trades, so everybody's sharing their trades on what they did. And again, it's important because we learn a lot from other members as well. It's very important to have that. All right, guys, let's take a look at what we have over on YouTube chat. All right, let's start with YVR. YVR, what do we have here? This one at the moment, guys, not doing a whole lot. It's up 53%, 7 million shares traded. But look at the type of stock this is.
8 million share penny stock.
Yeah, so you don't want to be involved with this. Again, it's tradable. You could probably catch a move, but what strategy are you going to trade here? I won't be looking for an ABCD pattern here. I'll tell you that much. Again, remember, guys, the market is out there to a stock like this to fool you most of the time. So be very, very careful. Strategies like that are not going to work well on something like this. At least from my experience. Let's take a look at some of the ones we have up here. Space, we have TSCO. TSCO, no volume here, guys. Only 21,000 shares traded, up 2%. This thing has been just crazy here. But again, not much going on as far as being able to catch a possible day trade. I don't see it happening here. EFX. As well, no volume, only 1,000 shares. So, guys, we really try to look for anything that's above 100,000 in volume and gapping up or down. Or it could be less volume. It could be 50,000. And if they have some kind of catalyst, just put it on there. Sometimes catalysts can get things going. This AT&T, the issue with AT&T, it trades horrible. It reminds me of a Macy's. They're just so choppy. These telecommunication companies are not great at all, guys. Unless they have some kind of news behind it. We've been watching these before. You know, was this one Verizon? What's the other one? Sprint, whatever it is. T-Mobile.
TMUS.
They're just horrible. So I'm going to skip on these unless there's any specific news. We really can watch those.
I mean, they had earnings, but nevertheless, there generally isn't a strong enough catalyst for them to trade that great. So
yeah. USG, we did have miss. We have here as well. That's the low flow of the day is down here. USG, we looked at again, guys, a very low flow stock, but I don't see a whole lot of volume here this morning. So we're going to skip on this one. Doesn't look great. Also, that flow, guys, 600,000 is not great. Microsoft, we do have on deck over here. That is on our list. So Microsoft is very active. 1 million shares traded this morning. So again, that's definitely going to be on our list. Definitely in play today. All right, last one here. WKHS by 7 here. This one is getting some volume now. I love the daily though. Possible breakout if we can get going here. So not sure what kind of news is breaking out here, but this one candle, guys, 304,000 in there. I'm going to throw that on here. We'll fine tune this list a little bit more. We have a lot on here already. We'll make sure to get this a little more fine tuned. All right, folks, let's head over to our community announcements and we'll come back and fine tune this list.
The first announcement I'm going to make, which isn't even on this sheet, is that for everybody in the room, maybe they're seeing it, everybody on YouTube, we have a Spanish tab now. We've got a ton of traders from around the world in Latin American countries and European countries, Spain, that speak Spanish. So it's awesome to have them here. So, you know, now you got your own tab. You can talk badly about the people that don't know Spanish and they will have no idea what you're saying. Like Andrew. I'm just kidding. So anyway, Abiel, be sure you keep an eye on that to make sure they don't do what I just said. Anyway, Success Webinar was last night. Mike's developing an Edge playbook journaling. It should be posted soon. Next week is Jared's much anticipated options trading webinar, and we're really looking forward to that. That's Wednesday night, 8 p.m. in the webinar room. Then psychology, Mike, next Tuesday will be doing his psychology of trading and how deeply correlated psychology and your trading performance is and how important psychology is in trading. That's next Tuesday, 8 p.m. in the webinar room as well. Here's our member trade of the day. Man, there's been some great trades. That AMD trade we showed earlier and recapped and went through. Members making great trades. So here are the rules on that. It's Monday through Thursday. This is the last day of the week to do this, and then tomorrow we'll choose the winner for the week. But so mark up, take a screenshot of your trades, mark up, and post your reason for your entry, your exits, and stuff. Tag @BearableTraders, @MikeB_BBT, and @NormBBT. Also use the hashtag BBTFamily, and we will pick the best trade. You do it before 1:30 in the afternoon because we got to get it picked and ready before the closing bell show. The winner will be picked. Mike will announce it in the closing bell show and also on Twitter. And then we'll talk about it like we did this morning on the pre-market show. Each Friday, we'll pick one winner from the 4 previous daily winners, and that person will get a $100 Amazon gift card. If you're watching us on YouTube, we've had a number of new people say they were here. So if you're watching us on YouTube and would like to try out the chat room, if you use the promo code premarket24, that'll give you 1 week, 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room at a discount. It's usually $39. That makes it $24. And that gives you also Carlos's awesome live onboarding class each Monday night at 8 p.m. So you can come in. It does not auto-renew, turn into any other kind of membership. It is straight up 7 days, and then it's over. If you like it here, we'd love to have you. We understand we're not a fit for everybody. That's why we give that week tryout period. Also, if you're looking to either upgrade your membership or become a lifetime member, use the promo code Rockies40. That'll give you 40% off the single payment option, lifetime membership. This will, in all likelihood, be the last time we discount the lifetime membership as much as 40%. If you like podcasts, search Talk with Traders, and you will find the Bear Bull Traders podcast with Peter putting out new content about every 2 weeks. And then speaking of Peter, join him, Mike, and Brian, the Closing Bell Show, 3:30 to 4:15 p.m. Eastern. Awesome time to catch the pre-market show on YouTube because of earnings and the craziness that's going on, especially this week.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm, for that. All right, guys, let's get to this list. We're going to fine tune it a little bit here because we definitely have a lot. Let's start with the possibles list. Get rid of some of the stuff that's not looking great. So we have American Airlines here. MGM we're going to keep. LVS we're going to remove, as Norm mentioned. I think MGM might be the one that trades a little bit better. DVAX, so Tesla, okay. Bntx I'm going to get rid of. Yeah, you know what? We'll keep it for now. BLDP, excuse me. This one I'm going to remove. Not looking great right now. I love the gap down here, guys. But again, we've seen this stock just trade horrible. So let's get rid of those. And we can fine tune this a little bit more in a second. Starting with our main list here, we have PFE is great, guys. Beautiful gap up. IBIO has been pretty good in the intraday, so we'll keep eye on that one. Twitter, very active, 4.6 million. We'll keep that. FE, I'm going to put it down as a possible. So I'm going to bring it down. The reason is because it already had 2 pretty big down days. So we might see some chop at the open. I think a lot of people are either out of their position by now or have reshuffled whatever they want to do here. We might get a little bit of a chop here. So I want to see it how it's going to play out first before I take a space in the main screen here. Neo is good, guys. Has been very active again, although the daily looks choppy in here for the last 2 days. If you look at the intraday, it's been giving us some pretty good opportunities. So I want to see if that's going to continue today. NKLA, this one now on the other hand had a great day yesterday. So I'm inclined to have it on here just in case we're going to see some of that action we had yesterday. Unfortunately, we were not watching it. Microsoft is good, amazing volume for this stock today. Roku, I'm going to put it down as our top possible this morning. So we'll put Roku down here, remove it from up here. Not doing much right now, but we always got to keep a close eye on Roku. Space is good. AMD's possible continuation. WKHS got some volume early on, started to get going, but still hasn't been able to break out of the 1710 area that we're seeing here. So I'm going to bring it down as a possible, and then we'll see what else we can take off from here. Let's do another round. So PFE is good. IBIO is decent. I might move that one to a possible after we do levels for it. Twitter is good. Neo. NKLA is okay, not great. Again, I'm just looking at the great day you had yesterday. So, just because of that, let's move it down. We'll keep a close eye on it, but let's move it down for now. An amazing day yesterday. Doesn't mean it's going to happen today, but I want to see if we get some action out of that. All right, we got a pretty good list now. Let's start with PFE this morning. High of the pre-market sitting at 39.39. Towards the bottom, we do have our low of our pre-market slightly above the highs from yesterday at 38.93. Moving over to the left over here, do we have anything above that? Excellent. Look at this pre-market high, guys, 39.39. I'm going to zoom in here. Late last year and early this year, we had a beautiful level here, 39.39, a great area of resistance. That is why we have that pre-market high being tested now. So above that, you obviously have 40.92, a major area of resistance. Look at the stock coming up here, getting rejected twice, and then a beautiful drop here. So a nice rejection there. And in between there, you have 40.17, a great area of support and resistance. Look at that. We break out of this, come back, retest it, try one more time for that 40.92. We're not able to break it and then slam right back down to this area again. We try to recover, gapped out the previous day, but still couldn't break it and back down to 39.39, the next level that we have on there. So some pretty good levels in here. If you want, there is a minor level right on here. I'm going to mark it just in case. This is not a major level, but 39.77. You can see this. You got this one day here being rejected off of that. And then after the drop, you have this day kind of finding support around that 39.77. So I think that could be a good midway point, because from the price action now to where we're trying to get to that next level, that's a long way. So you want to be aware that the stocks don't move, that fast and that aggressive in one direction for the most part. So you want to have a midway point. You can kind of calculate risk to reward or your entries or exits. Towards the bottom, 38.21. Then you have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. So IBIO, guys, we'll do some levels for this one, but I think I'm inclined to move this down towards the possibles list, or just remove it from here at all. We do have 658 high of the pre-market, low of the pre-market, basically the high from yesterday. So you're covered there. And then aside from that, the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days got you covered pretty well here. Do not need to add anymore. I'm going to remove it, guys. I don't see anything great right now pre-market. Hopefully things can get a little bit better. And we also have our scanners we can look at. Twitter at the moment, great pre-market action. As far as volume, again, starting to get a little bit better now. This is all chop here, guys. Starting to get a little bit better now with this beautiful drop here. Hopefully that continues one way or the other, whether we find support and start shooting higher towards that 39.96, or we head lower towards these highs and lows we have here between 37.50 and 37. Let's go over to the left, see what we have here. We do have some areas right in here, slightly above the price action now, around 39.16. Nice area of change in direction. That's a good rejection there on Twitter. Do we have anything above 39.96? That looks great. Let's zoom into October, September timeframe. Yeah, we do have this consolidation here around 40.73. And let's just get another level in case Twitter decides to run. Because when Twitter does pick a direction and trace well, it can run pretty nice. So 41.69 is a good level to have on there. So pretty good stuff there towards the bottom, guys. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Previous day close got you covered as well. Don't need to add anything there. Here's Neo. Neo stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. Again, had a great trading day yesterday. Nice pop and nice rejection here. Right now, just kind of moving sideways with some pretty good volume. The only thing I'll probably add here is the high of the pre-market, 13.23. Other than that, you're stuck between a couple of levels on here. I don't know if this thing wants what it wants to do, if it wants to break up or down. It's pretty much flat right now. Let's look at Microsoft. Microsoft, nice drop here, 206. We are down 1.7 on this one. Some good pre-market action on Microsoft. This type of pre-market action, guys, is great when it comes to Microsoft. Usually you don't get a lot of movement on this stock, but today we're seeing that. I do like this 208.90, 208.88 actually. It's a little bit better than the high of the pre-market. You got several levels on there being tested, so I want to have that down. And then above that, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, previous day close. And in between here, between the high of the pre-market and the previous day close, I don't see any levels that's great. Maybe that's a possible against a minor level. You do have this 210.41, and the reason for that, going back towards the beginning of the month, we have several days, about 3 days, opening and closing right at that 210. So maybe that could create some action for us. We'll keep it on there because, again, the previous day closed a little bit ways out from where we need it from the price action now. Towards the bottom, low of the pre-market, as we mentioned, and then clearly right here, nice level of 203. Look at the resistance, the support, and then more support around these levels as well. Look out for this moving average also coming in around 205.53. SPCE, guys, this one has been pretty nice, pretty clean. We have a great area of resistance over here around 27. So the last 3 days, last 2 days, having a lot of trouble getting above that. So we'll see if it wants to do that today, or we're going to get any type of rejection to head back south. If we're able to break out of that, going back into February timeframe when this thing was really explosive, 27.96 is a great level. Aside from that, here, guys, this is all over the place. You're not going to find a good daily level here. Again, everything is just all over the place, so I'm not gonna even try to make up a level there. Just leave it the way it is. The good level we have is 27.96. Aside from that, the other ones are not looking great. AMD, beautiful day yesterday, giving it back a little bit this morning. As far as pre-market action, we were up nicely over at 62.68. We are now down as pre-market low 61.31. So let's mark those. In between there, we do have the previous day close. It seems like this thing wants to go back and at least test that previous day close. Let's see if we can break out of it, or are we going to get another rejection? Again, beautiful downtrend right now. on AMD with some pretty good volume, 786, definitely on top of our list. So again, big day yesterday is a little bit extended. Do we have more juice to keep going here towards the north side? So that is our main list. Let's look at our possibles again. We have NKLA, which I think I'm gonna remove. Again, big day yesterday. I'm just gonna remove this one today. WKHS continues to get good volume. I'm gonna keep this one on here. Roku is our sleeper. FE could be good. It could be choppy. We'll have to see how it develops in the morning. DVAX, I'm still not seeing anything great pre-market. It's been looking the same since we left it earlier. So let's get rid of it. Tesla is good. Beautiful, a possible breakout here on the daily. Bntx continues to drop nicely here, guys. Again, just be careful with this one. It's a stock that moves very aggressive. MGM for a possible play, and also American Airlines based on earnings as well for a possible play here if we could lose this great level of support. So the next level here towards the bottom, a great level we have here is this 1037. Great area of support and resistance as well if we can get going. Now, American Airlines doesn't move as much. I don't like it as much as I like United. I'm going to find a midpoint level here. Looks like around 1072 you have a midpoint level there. If you get a couple of cents on this one, guys, take it, because you're not going to get a dollar or two or 50 cents easily. So be mindful of the characteristic of the way the stock moves, right? Sometimes as traders, we want to get a big move and we have a number in mind, and that stock might not give you that number. So just be aware of that. I'll keep United on deck just in case. I do like the way United trades better in case we get some kind of sympathy play on United. All right, guys, that is what we have. Peter, I'm sorry, I'm looking at something else here, the watch list. But Norm, what do you have before I get to Peter?
As far as my watch list,
yes,
right now, Twitter, FE, SPCE, Neo, Pfizer, Roku, Microsoft, and AMD.
All right, perfect. So nice list, pretty similar to what we have here as well. Let's take a look at the rest of the team here. We have Peter, his main watch list, Microsoft, and of course AMD. And Peter, I hope you killed AMD yesterday. Secondary list, PFE, LVS, and Tesla. Eamon is watching AMD, Bntx, and Neo. And we have Thor next watching Microsoft, Twitter, AMD. And heading down to the bottom here, who else do we have? Tiffany's has AMD, Microsoft as her main watch list. And then the secondary space, SPCE, NPFE on her secondary list. So pretty good list this morning, guys. A lot better than what we saw yesterday. But yesterday had some stuff that was not looking great, traded amazing. So you just never know. Sometimes you have these not so great pre-market actions, and you get some pretty good moves out of it, like we did with AMD. Just came out of nowhere. I'm getting asked what I think of Bank of America. Let's take a look. I see that coming up a few times here. If right now Bank of America doesn't look great, guys, it is up 1.1. But if there's some heavy news behind it, that could change at the open. But it's not the best trading stock. I'll tell you that. These banking stocks are not all that great. All right, guys, 9:17 Eastern time here. As we get ready, we're going to go back into the room now as we sign off from YouTube and continue preparing for our watch list. Andrew and Brian will be next. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We will see you tomorrow again, 8:30 Eastern time. Take care and trade safe.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.